We often hear about the trials of notorious criminals or drug lords. Well, that's not news to most of us. We also watch movies with these characters and we have a glimpse of what they can do. We hear less about the trials of their wives. But this is not the case for Emma Coronel, the wife of Sinaloa cartel leader Joaquin El Chapo Guzman Loera. It should not be news to you about how these couples are together. Emma Coronel got married to El Chapo in 2007. At the time, Coronel was just 18 and had recently been crowned beauty queen in a local pageant in her home state of Durango, while El Chapo was nearly 32 years her senior. Emma Coronel cannot be his first wife. She is the third wife, but the flamboyant and faithful wife. She always sought her husband's interest until that fateful day when she pleaded guilty to the charges brought against her. Emma Coronel is a dual US-Mexican citizen. Just like her husband, she has often been a figure of public attraction, a role that she has often stoked by her extravagant lifestyle and her permissive attitude towards paparazzi. Forgetting the fact that nothing lasts forever, now she's regretting all she has engaged herself in while married to El Chapo. And I'll say her true regret paved the way for her in terms of her sentencing. Are you wondering how? She pleaded guilty to 3 counts of conspiring to distribute illegal drugs, conspiring to launder money, and of engaging in financial dealings with the Sinaloa cartel. In simple terms, she pleaded guilty to charges that she helped her husband run his drug trafficking empire, facilitated one of his prison escapes in Mexico, and violated US sanctions by spending his illicit fortune. After El Chapo was captured in 2014 and sent to a maximum security prison in Mexico known as El Altiplano, Coronel orchestrated El Chapo's escape through a nearly mile-long tunnel that led into the shower beneath his prison cell. Prosecutors said that she also delivered nearly $1 million cash bribes to Altiplano prisoner personnel. Unfortunately, after El Chapo's escape in July 2015, he was recaptured in January 2016, and Coronel did not give up on him. Prosecutors allege that Coronel again worked to plan a second escape from El Altiplano by delivering another $1 million in bribes, even though she was aware of another $2 million in bribes, which were paid out after El Chapo was transferred to another prison. Unluckily, the escape plan fell apart when El Chapo was extradited to the US in January 2017, which resulted in his eventual conviction on drug trafficking, money laundering, and weapon charges. From this, you can see what the then beauty queen is now being tamed as guilty. With these charges brought against her, how many years of term in prison do you think she'll be given? Well, under federal sentencing guidelines, she ought to be sentenced to 14 years in prison, but the federal prosecutors in Washington, D.C. asked their judge for leniency, calling for her to just serve 4 years behind bars and fueling speculations that she would strike a deal to cooperate, which she eventually did, paying a sum of $1.5 million to the U.S. government as part of her sentence. If not for the federal prosecutors, the trial could have ended much worse for Coronel. The federal prosecutors portrayed Coronel to Judge Rudolph Contreras as a person who only played a minimal role in the cartel and that her crimes were committed simply because she was married to El Chapo. Can that be true? One of the federal prosecutors, Anthony Nardozzi, said the defendant was not an organizer, leader, boss, or other types of manager. Rather, she was a cog in a very large wheel of a criminal organization. He also said that while the overall effect of the defendant's conduct was significant, the defendant's actual role was a minimal one. The defendant acted primarily in support of her husband. He noted that she quickly accepted responsibility for her criminal conduct. Suppose you are to accept Anthony Nardozzi's words. Doesn't that mean Coronel is a victim and never did all she has done willingly? Well, only Coronel is in the best position to answer that. Still, Coronel's attorney was very smart and could wisely develop the defense on the prosecutor's word, where he stressed that she was swept into the world of drug trafficking while still a minor and deserved mercy. In his words, she met Joaquin Guzman when she was a minor. She was 17 years old and she married him on her 18th birthday. Coronel was not also silent during her trial. She addressed the court in Spanish before the judge handed down the sentence. She sought forgiveness and made a plea for leniency so that she could raise her 10-year-old twin daughters, which were fathered by El Chapo. Do you know how she said it to the judge? She said, "I know that you may find it difficult to ignore the fact that I'm the wife of Mr. Guzman Loera, and perhaps, for this reason, you feel there's a need for you to be harder on me. But I pray that you do not do that. I'm suffering as a result of the pain that I've caused my family. My family brought me up to know what respect was, and gratitude and honesty, but they also taught me to accept those mistakes that I made. And for that reason, I'm here before you, asking for forgiveness. Aside from being sorrowful towards herself and her family, she also sought the forgiveness of the country in Spanish through an interpreter saying, "With all due respect, I address you today to express my true regret for any harm that I may have done. And I ask that you and all the citizens of this country forgive me." Her words did not end here. Coronel also involved the best interest of her children as she pleaded guilty. She said, "Those are precisely the same values that I wish to teach my daughters. They are the primary most important reasons why I'm here before you. They were already growing up without the presence of one of their parents, and for this reason, I beg you not to let them grow up without the presence of their mother." Are these words not captivating? If not for the fact that she must be sentenced with the charges brought before her, I'm sure that if the judge could acquit her, he would have immediately done so. But are those words enough to justify her reduced sentences? Well, if we are to play by the law, her words are not enough. The judge's decision will not be justified based on the words she said only, but on the ground that any downward departure or a sentence below the range called by the federal guidelines is typically reserved for individuals who agree to assist the government in some capacity. So given the case of Coronel, has she provided substantial assistance to the government in any form? And if what the prosecutor said is to be taken as true, that Coronel played a minimal role, then she didn't have to be charged in the first instance. Well, this seems to be the position of a former federal prosecutor, Bonnie Clapper, who's now in private practice, when he said Coronel's sentence is a very clear demonstration of how prosecutors can manipulate the sentencing guidelines to either punish or reward the defendant. If we consider the assistance or expectations that Coronel could offer to help federal investigators is low, or better still, it's nothing because it's not certain if it's helpful. Although Coronel's lead attorney, Jeffrey Lichtman, argued that Coronel deserved a lighter sentence because of the danger that she finds herself in due to the numerous unattributed and anonymous government agents who said she cooperated with the government. Her attorney also said that she faced severe conditions of confinement, partly due to COVID-19 precautions, at the jail where she's been held, but also due to her high profile. Coronel was confined to a cell by herself for 22 hours a day and allowed only 1 hour during the day and 1 hour at night. She has not received any visits from family or friends. Lichtman also told the judge that Coronel had done humanitarian work in Mexico, including handing out disaster relief supplies to people affected by a 2017 earthquake in Mexico. He said that her purpose in life going forward would be to raise her kids, not to follow in her footsteps. She wants to do better for her young children and wants them to know they should not make the mistakes that she made, Lichtman said. She wants them to be good examples going forward. Wow. This is convincing. I wonder what the judge would have been thinking about. Judge Contreras thought that putting her behind bars for a long time would do little to dissuade anyone else from joining the Sinaloa cartel. He said there was little indication that prosecuting El Chapo had any impact on the cartel's operations. One can make a plausible argument that even the removal of Guzman from the conspiracy has not resulted in a reduction of harm to the public. There appears to be no shortage of replacements to fill the defendant's slot in the organization, the judge said in a closing remark to Coronel. I hope you raise your twins in a different environment than you have experienced to date. Thank you for staying with me till the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like and share this video with family and friends. You can leave your questions and thoughts in the comment section below and I'll respond as soon as I can. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified when we add new videos in the future. Thank you and bye for now.